Ready to unlock your notary potential and boost your income? It's time to move beyond basic notarizations. In Notary, Niche Navigator by Derek Spruill, learn the most profitable specialized services. Learn to master high-demand areas like loan signings, international apostilles, and I-9 employment verifications. This essential guide offers new ideas to help you become the go-to expert in your field. Grab your copy of Notary, Niche Navigator by Derek Spruill today and start building your empire.
When you picture the day-to-day work of a notary, the image that usually comes to mind is, well, it's pretty dry, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's mostly paperwork.
Yeah, you're probably picturing like stacks of mortgage documents, maybe a quiet conference room.
Right. Very serious faces.
Exactly. Verifying IDs, applying that official stamp. It's highly structured, and it's vital for preventing fraud. But let's be honest, it isn't exactly a party.
No, far from it. I mean, we operate in this realm of absolute certainty, right? Administrative safeguards.
All right.
The job is anchored in strict procedural boundaries, which is, it's exactly why the public trusts the commission in the first place.
But what if you could take that exact same commission and use it as your entry ticket into an industry built entirely on, emotion and celebration and high-ticket event planning?
Yeah, that's the dream.
I'm talking about stepping out of the conference room and stepping up to the altar.
So welcome to Notary Knowledge, where we deliver fast-paced, informative, and high-level strategy sessions.
Absolutely. If you're listening to this, you're looking to elevate your business strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And you already know from our prior episodes on advanced revenue streams that we are all about maximizing your value.
Always.
So today, for Money Making Mondays, we are focusing on the wedding officiant extension.
And this is, it's really one of the most fascinating pivots a notary can make, honestly.
Oh, for sure.
We're going to break down how to turn a basic low-fee signature into a high-ticket event package.
Yeah, just tapping right into that multi-billion-dollar wedding industry.
Exactly. But, to do that successfully, you really need to understand the complex legal landscape of notaries acting as officiants.
Right, the rules of the game.
Yeah, how to actually package and price these services, and importantly, how to mitigate the unique massive risks involved.
Because, dealing with the most important day of a couple's life carries a completely different set of liabilities than, say, witnessing a vehicle title transfer.
Oh, absolutely. The stakes are completely different.
Yeah. Now, before we get into the mechanics of this strategy, just a quick reminder to rate the show, subscribe, and share this podcast with other professionals in your network.
Yes, please do.
And if you want to really build on these strategies, be sure to visit the Notary Knowledge website and grab a copy of the Notary Knowledge books by Derek Spruill to just really bulletproof your expertise.
All right. So let's start with the legal reality here, because this is where, most people trip up.
Yeah, the legal side is huge.
It is. The single most important thing you need to understand before you even think about marketing a wedding package is that your notary commission does not automatically grant you the legal authority to marry a couple.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a bit like assuming that just because you have a license to drive a car, you can suddenly hop into the cockpit of a commercial jet.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Like, they might both be forms of transportation, but they operate under entirely different regulatory frameworks.
Exactly. Right now, there are only 6 states that currently recognize notaries as authorized wedding officiants purely based on their notary commission.
Just 6?
Yes, 6. That's Florida, South Carolina, Maine, Montana, Nevada, and Tennessee.
Wow. Okay. But even within those 6 states, it's not just a blanket free-for-all, right?
Oh, definitely not. State legislatures are, they're constantly tweaking these laws. Take Maine, for instance.
Okay, what happened in Maine?
Well, up until recently, the powers were bundled. But in 2023, Maine actually updated their laws so that notaries who wish to officiate marriages now have to secure a completely separate marriage officiant license.
Wait, really? A separate license?
Yeah, the state wanted to maintain distinct professional standards for the 2 roles, which, makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And Nevada is an even better example of strict local regulation, especially if you look at Clark County.
Oh, Vegas is a completely different beast.
Yeah.
You can't just step off the plane with your notary stamp and start marrying people on the Strip.
I think a lot of people assume they can, though.
They do. But Clark County requires you to pass a background check, complete an in-person training course, and pay a $55 fee just to obtain a 5-year certificate of permission to perform marriages.
Wow. Why are they so strict about that compared to, other counties?
Because the Las Vegas wedding industry is just this massive economic engine. I mean, millions of dollars flow through those chapels every single year.
Oh, right, of course.
And in the past, they dealt with scammers who would, fraudulently marry people just to collect a quick cash fee.
Leaving the couples in total legal limbo.
Exactly. So the county implemented those hurdles, like the background check and the training, to weed out bad actors and protect the integrity of their tourism industry.
That makes a lot of sense. Then you have Tennessee, which only recently authorized notaries to solemnize marriages back in 2021.
Right.
But they attached this fiercely strict administrative rule to that power. Like, the authorized officiant has to return the signed marriage license to the county clerk within 3 days of the ceremony.
3 days.
Yeah, and if you fail to do that, it's actually considered a misdemeanor.
Which is just a brilliant example of why this isn't just some casual weekend gig.
No, not at all.
Think about the cascading effects of a delayed filing. Like, if you marry a couple on a Saturday and they get into a terrible car accident on Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and you haven't filed the paperwork yet, their next of kin rights, their medical decision-making powers, and their insurance statuses are completely up in the air.
That's terrifying.
It is. The state demands that 3-day turnaround to ensure absolute legal certainty.
And what about Florida? Because the rules there are very rigidly tied to geography, right?
Correct. A Florida notary can only perform ceremonies within the physical geographic boundaries of the state.
Okay.
And they can only marry couples who have obtained a valid Florida marriage license. Like, you can't just take your Florida commission to Georgia for a weekend and perform a wedding there.
Right. And, while we're on the topic of Florida, it's probably worth mentioning that the legal landscape around marriage has shifted significantly over the last decade or two.
Oh, absolutely.
Our job here is really just to report the statutory facts as they stand right now. So, according to the National Notary Association, Florida notaries are legally authorized to perform same-sex weddings.
Yes, that's the current statute.
Right. So whatever your personal stance might be, your professional duty is just to operate within the current statutory requirements of your commissioning state.
Exactly. You operate strictly within the law. But, this brings up a huge issue for listeners who live outside of those 6 specific states.
Oh, yeah.
We see so many professionals making these really dangerous assumptions.
I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Let's look at some of the common scenarios, right?
Yeah.
You've got Steve in Washington State who thinks his standard notary stamp is all he needs to officiate his buddy's wedding.
Yep. Or Rita in Nevada. She scans her basic commission certificate and just assumes it covers her in Clark County without taking that extra in-person training.
Right. Then there's Sue in Georgia trying to book Sunday weddings, relying purely on her notary status.
And don't forget the tech-heavy mistakes, too.
Oh, like Hal.
Yeah, Hal in Texas, trying to set up his laptop for a completely virtual wedding ceremony, assuming his remote notary powers automatically apply to solemnizing a marriage.
Yeah, or Chris in Illinois giving a quick fist bump to a couple because he thinks his seal acts as some, universal pass to solemnize a union.
It's wild.
So in every single one of those scenarios, the marriages would be legally invalid based purely on their notary commissions.
100% invalid. I mean, if you are in a state like Georgia, Texas, Washington, or Illinois, your notary commission is basically irrelevant to a wedding.
Wow.
You have to obtain secondary credentials.
Okay, meaning what exactly?
This usually means becoming an ordained minister through organizations like American Marriage Ministries or AMM or the Universal Life Church.
But wait, how do states actually view those online ordinations? Like, if I jump online and get ordained in 5 minutes, does the state just blindly accept that I'm now a legal officiant?
Not always. And that is exactly why you have to check your local county registration laws.
Right.
Some states are very hands-off. They accept them without a second thought. But others are highly skeptical of the 5-minute internet ordination.
Do you have an example?
Virginia is famous for this. They actually require ministers, even those ordained online, to seek in-person court approval before they are legally allowed to officiate a wedding.
Wait, you have to go to court?
Yeah, you have to physically go before a clerk or a judge, present your credentials, and prove your organization is recognized. They want a real human being to verify your legitimacy to prevent, mass rubber stamping.
Okay, so the foundation of your business really has to be airtight legal compliance.
Absolutely.
But once you have that authority, whether through your state's notary laws or a proper secondary ordination, how do you actually monetize it? I mean, this is money-making Mondays after all.
Right. Let's talk money.
How do we take a fee that's normally kept by the state and turn it into hundreds or thousands of dollars?
The secret is really understanding the hard line between a statutory fee and free market pricing.
Okay, unpack that.
So in Florida, state law caps the fee for simply officiating a civil ceremony as a notary at $30. You cannot charge more than $30 for the actual notarial act of solemnizing the marriage.
Right, that's the cap.
However, the free market dictates the pricing for all the additional services you bundle into a premium wedding package.
Because the couple isn't just paying for the signature, they're paying for the experience.
Exactly.
Like the national average cost of a wedding officiant is around $260.
Yeah.
But professionals who treat this like a real business easily command between $500 and over $1,000.
Oh, easily. It's all about creating tiered service packages.
So how does that work in practice?
Tiered pricing works because it caters to different client needs while, anchoring your value. You might start with a license signing only tier.
And what does that run?
That's priced somewhere between $75 and $150. This is the bare legal minimum. There are no guests, no aisle, no formal vows.
Okay.
You are literally just meeting the couple at a coffee shop to execute the paperwork, administer the mandatory oaths, and just make it legal.
Right. Then the next step up would be the elopement tier,
Okay.
right? Usually priced around $175 to $250.
Exactly.
This is for the couple who wants a brief, intimate ceremony, maybe just them and a photographer at a scenic overlook.
Yeah, very simple. And finally, you have the premium or formal ceremony tier.
And that's where the big money is.
Right. This ranges from $300 to well over $1,000. For this tier, you're putting in hours of work. You're writing custom vows, you're attending the wedding rehearsal to coordinate the timing with the bridal party, and you're delivering a fully tailored script on the big day.
But the strategy that really maximizes a notary's unique skill set is what I call the one-stop shop model.
Yes, I love this model.
If you're a notary, you can bundle your standard notarial services directly into the wedding package. When couples are prepping for marriage, they're drowning in paperwork.
Oh, so much paperwork.
They might need prenuptial agreements notarized, or affidavits of age, or name change documents.
And don't forget the apostille process. This is a massive value add.
Yes, let's touch on that really quickly for anyone who hasn't handled one. Think of an apostille as a global authentication certificate.
Right.
It's almost like a super notarization that proves to a foreign government that your local state-issued marriage document is legitimate. So if a couple is traveling internationally after the wedding, or if they're foreign citizens getting married in the U.S. and they need their home country to recognize the union, they have to navigate the apostille process.
And it is a headache.
It is. So as a notary who understands State Department filings, you can take that massive headache right off their plate.
It's basically the ultimate all-inclusive resort model.
Right.
Couples planning a wedding suffer from extreme decision fatigue. They're picking caterers, florists, DJs, photographers. The last thing they want to do is piece together 3 different vendors just to handle their legal administration.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They will gladly pay a premium for this one. The legal marriage specialist who guarantees everything from the prenup to the final filed marriage license is absolutely flawless.
I love the concept, but let me challenge the marketing side of this for a second.
Sure.
If I'm a high-end wedding planner, right, and I'm charging a couple $10,000 to orchestrate their day, why on earth am I going to trust my vendor list to a notary who just decided to start doing weddings rather than a dedicated career officiant?
That's a great question, because a high-end wedding planner is terrified of administrative errors.
Okay.
Right. A career officiant might have this beautiful speaking voice and deliver a tear-jerking ceremony, but if they forget to file that marriage license within the required 3-day window,
The planner takes the heat.
the planner is the one who gets the screaming phone call from the bride. Planners value reliability and legal certainty above almost everything else.
Wow, that's so true.
So if you network with venue coordinators and planners and your pitch is, I am a commissioned legal professional, I guarantee the paperwork will be flawless and filed on time, you become their safest bet.
Because they control a gate.
Exactly. Planners control the gate. Once you prove your competence to them, they will feed you clients consistently.
That is a phenomenal angle. You aren't selling a speech, you're selling legal peace of mind.
Spot on.
Okay, we've covered the legal foundation and the premium pricing strategy, but we're going to take a quick pause for a commercial break. But when we come back, we need to talk about risk. Because charging premium rates, means taking on premium liabilities.
It really does.
All right, we are back. So, when you are responsible for the most important day of someone's life, what happens when the wheels fall off?
Well, risk management is really what separates the professionals from the hobbyists here.
Right.
And your absolute first line of defense is a rock-solid contract. It is just non-negotiable.
What needs to be in it?
It has to clearly outline your base fee, any travel fees, a non-refundable retainer, and incredibly strict cancellation policies.
Yeah, there's a great anecdote from the source material about this involving Norman Graham, who runs a business called Wed by Norm.
Oh, I know this story.
Yeah, during his early days, I think it was his very second wedding, the client showed up 2 hours late, 2 full hours.
Unbelievable.
And they walked in without any apology, just completely oblivious to his schedule. The hard lesson he learned that day was to immediately build a strict late fee policy into his contract.
It's a painful but totally necessary lesson. As a service provider, your inventory is your time.
Right.
If a wedding starts 2 hours late, it doesn't just ruin that afternoon. It might prevent you from getting to your next booking across town.
Which loses you even more money.
Exactly. Your contract has to financially protect your time boundaries. But, a contract alone won't save you if you make a critical error. We really need to discuss the insurance gaps because this is where notaries are dangerously exposed.
I think a lot of notaries just assume that their basic notary bond and their errors and omissions insurance, their E&O, covers them for anything they do with their stamp.
And that is a fundamental misunderstanding of how insurance works.
How so?
First, a standard notary bond does not protect you, the notary. It protects the public.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If you make a mistake that causes financial harm, the bonding company pays the victim, and then they come right back to you to collect the money they paid out.
That is rough. And what about standard signing agent errors and omissions insurance?
Well, standard E&O insurance protects the notary, but it is highly specific.
Okay.
It usually only covers traditional notarial acts, like administering an oath for a loan signing.
Yeah.
It almost never covers errors made while acting as a wedding officiant.
That's completely outside the scope.
Right. Solemnizing a marriage is considered a distinct professional service outside the scope of basic notarization.
So let me get this straight. If you accidentally spill coffee on the only copy of the signed marriage license, or, I don't know, you show up at the wrong venue on the wrong day, your standard notary, is just going to deny the claim.
Almost certainly. If you are going to perform weddings, you must seek out specialized professional liability insurance tailored to officiants.
Okay, good to know.
This coverage protects against specific risks like lost documents, ceremony failures, or professional negligence.
Where do you even find that?
Groups like the International Association of Professional Wedding Officiants are great resources for finding policies that actually cover the specific vehicle you are driving, so to speak.
That is crucial.
Yeah.
Now, how does the notary journal fit into this ecosystem? Because some states don't even mandate a journal for regular notarizations, let alone weddings.
True. But even if your state doesn't strictly require it by statute, using your journal is your ultimate defense against fraud or future legal disputes.
Right.
You should meticulously log the date, the venue address, the couple's signatures, the witnesses' signatures, and the specific serial number of the marriage license.
So it essentially becomes your chronological alibi.
Exactly.
Nobody really thinks about the administrative logbook while the ceremony is happening and the champagne is flowing, right?
Yeah.
But if, say, 5 years down the line, there's a nasty divorce or a legal challenge regarding the exact date the marriage took place for tax purposes,
Right.
your journal entry is the only independent chronological proof that the event occurred exactly as the law required.
Exactly. It provides an undeniable record of your actions as a public official. And, tying this back to those strict filing deadlines we discussed earlier.
Like the 10 days in Florida or the 3 days in Tennessee.
Exactly. The journal proves exactly when you took possession of the documents. If the county clerk loses the paperwork, your journal proves you did your job on time.
When you lay it out like that, those premium fees we talked about earlier make total sense.
They really do.
The couple isn't paying you to just stand there and speak nicely for 20 minutes. They are paying you to manage legal risk, ensure flawless administrative execution, and just guarantee that their new legal status is properly recorded with the state government.
It is a massive responsibility. You are acting as the bridge between their emotional celebration and the cold, hard legal reality of the state.
Yeah.
If you execute it properly, it is an incredibly rewarding, high-margin way to diversify your business.
It really is. And, it makes you wonder where the industry is heading next. Which brings us to a final thought for you to chew on today.
Oh, I like this one.
We are currently watching a massive, rapid rise in remote online notarization, or RON. It's completely transforming the mortgage and real estate industries.
Huge shift.
Yeah, the infrastructure for secure digital identity verification is already here and is functioning perfectly every single day. So the big question is, will state laws soon evolve to allow fully remote digital wedding solemnization across the board?
It's a great question.
I mean, if you can legally verify identities and buy $1 million house from your laptop, will couples soon be able to legally marry via a secure webcam feed? Or will the physical presence requirement, the tradition of standing in the same room, stand the test of time?
It's a fascinating regulatory frontier. I mean, some jurisdictions dipped their toes into remote weddings during the pandemic, but establishing it as a permanent nationwide standard, that is something savvy strategists should monitor very closely.
We'd really love to hear your thoughts on this. Email your questions to Derek@dereksproul.com.
Yeah, we will try to answer as soon as possible at the end of our shows.
And remember, your education doesn't stop here. Please buy the Notary Knowledge books by Derek Spruill and visit the Notary Knowledge website for all things notary.
Absolutely.
Executive producer Derek Spruill, lead writer Marylyn Trotter, graphics Montes Travis, music Thomas Bynum, produced by Magnificent Works Business Solutions.
Don't just be listeners of the knowledge, be doers of the knowledge.
This is Notary Knowledge. Until next time. Remember, whether you are dealing with a standard acknowledgement or standing before a couple at the altar, your precision is what protects them. Make sure your records are always airtight.
Are you an aspiring notary looking to join millions of other notaries? Start your journey with the Notary Public Foundation by Derek Spruill. This essential guide provides the step-by-step process to becoming commissioned in your state. Don't stumble into the role. Walk into it with confidence. Grab your copy of the Notary Public Foundation by Derek Spruill on Amazon today.